Hi, this is Randy Erler with the Living Well Blueprint. Exercise, exercise, exercise. We're all told we have to exercise 3 times a week, 5 times a week, 6 days a week. Make sure you get your exercise. It comes at us from all directions. And for some of us, that's no big deal. But statistically, this is a challenge for people. 25% of Americans belong to a membership. But attendance records from across the board of those gyms show that less than 10% of members actually use it. So not a lot of people are getting to the gym on a regular basis. And part of the problem is when people hear exercise, that's what they think, the gym. It's this other thing I have to do. I got a busy day. I had a full day. And now I have to go to this other place. And in some cases, that could add an hour to 2 hours to your day, right? It's a 45-minute to 1 hour workout. You're going to drive a half hour to get there. You're going to drive a half hour to get home. It becomes logistically challenging. And with the amount of energy we have that we've already taxed and used throughout the day, for many people, unless they really, really love it, it becomes an obstacle. So I want to help reframe the idea of exercise. Because exercise we equate with the gym. I want to flip that. I want to change that. Think instead of exercise, think movement. Not I need to exercise more, I need to move more. All right? And then we're going to start integrating that into our day. Instead of having it be a separate thing we have to do, it's simply part of the day. All right? There's some simple things we can do to make this happen. Okay? First of all, if you sit all day, now just a reminder, we are not built to sit. Okay, we are not meant to sit at a desk and work for 8 to 10 hours and then shuffle to the next room in our apartment or our home and turn on another screen and sit down again and look at it. We're not built to sit and look at screens. That's sort of how our culture's evolved. Okay, and that's what many of us do, but we need to flip that and sort of reframe how we use our time. So the number one thing you can do is eliminate as much unrequired sitting, as much optional sitting as you possibly can. All right? Sometimes, hey, you're driving to pick your kids up at school. Of course, you got to sit down. But how far away is your school? Is it possible to walk? Is it possible to bike? Do you have other options? All right? Think about that a little bit. If you have a daily drive to the other side of the subdivision or the neighborhood to pick up your kids, one little thing you can do is add a walk. Okay? Very simple thing. But if not, if you have to drive, that's not optional. Okay? What in your day can you sort of break up? If you sit all day, one option is a stand-up desk. Now, what's interesting is if you start standing up during the day, you actually have to learn how to stand. It's kind of crazy, but we do. We need to learn how to stand. We need to learn how to walk. It's things we do all the time, but for a lot of us, we have posture issues, how we kind of hold our hips, how we engage our core. These are things we have to learn. I'll do a video about that another time. But very simple thing you can do. Get on your chair. Stand up while you work for as long as you can. It takes a little bit of time. I introduced this to my wife not long ago, and she just started by opening her emails in the morning, and then she would sit down. Then she would take a meeting or two, then sit down. And now she does kind of the whole morning standing, then she'll sit down, and then sometimes finish the day. So she's slowly increasing the amount of time she's standing. Okay? Another option, if you don't have the ability to get a stand-up desk, that's just not an option for you, and you're sitting, what you want to do is get up every 30 minutes. Okay? Every 30 minutes, you stand up and you do something. Walk to the mailbox, go upstairs, come back downstairs, change a load of laundry, empty the dishwasher. You just want to move your body, help it kind of reset. It resets your posture as you sit down. Okay? Very simple things you can do. All right? And then again, continue to eliminate unrequired sitting. So you want to then start adding movement. And it does not have to be a trip to the gym. Look at your life. Find things you enjoy. Do things every day. Okay? I've said this many, many times. Take care of your own yard work. Clean your own house. That's 2 days a week for me. Okay, there's 2 days I don't work out because I'll spend 3 to 4 hours in the yard, and another day I probably spend 4 to 6 hours just cleaning my house. And it's physical work. Feels good. It gives a sense of empowerment. It helps me kind of manage some of my anxiety, gives me a sense of control, but it's physically engaging. Okay, it feels good to do it. All right, cook your own meals. All right, do your own shopping. I've mentioned these things many times, but we live in a culture that's relentlessly pursuing comfort. We're constantly trying to eliminate activities from our lives because it seems easier just to push a button and let somebody else bring it to us. But what are we replacing it with? Is it just more screen time? Is it inactivity? So that becomes a vicious circle where we're struggling with our physical health, yet we're not physically engaged. You have to understand, again, I've said it many times, our bodies are built for work. Okay? You don't have to go back in time too far when you had to labor all day, every day, for all of your basic needs. You toiled. You had to go get water. You had to go retrieve it. You had to walk everywhere. To cook a meal was to source the food. It was to prepare the meal in a very slow, deliberate way and clean it up in the same fashion. Okay, there was a lot of labor. We're not designed for the life that we have right now, so we have to find ways to counter it. So, easiest thing you can do is find a way to put that into your day. Add movement. Find activities you like. Skateboard, pickleball, go to the park with your kids, ride a bike. It doesn't matter what it is. Start a garden, grow your own food, walk your dog. You can be creative. Just think, I gotta get out, I gotta go move. And as a bottom line, you should just be walking every day. Now, I want to add 4 things to that, okay? 4 simple exercises you can do, can scatter this through the day, that add another component to it, which is some strength training. And we're just going to do some calisthenics to help you reconnect with your body, help you build a little bit of strength, and just kind of make you feel better inside your own skin. All right, there was a time when I was teaching where I taught driver's ed. All right, in the summers, I would spend 12 to 14 hours in a car with 15-year-olds learning to drive. So not only was my stress level high, but it was like a little Toyota Corolla, and I sometimes felt like Mr. Incredible all curled up in this little car all day long. I would get very, very stiff. My body would ache. So what I started to do then was build in about 15 to 20 minutes in between my drives where I could pull off. I'd usually go to an empty parking lot somewhere, and I would do one of these 4 exercises, 1 or 2 of these, for multiple reps before I went to my next drive. And my goal always was to do 100 to 200 of each of these over the course of the day. It made me feel like I did a workout. I felt physically engaged, even though I was stuck in this car all day. Okay, so it's a way you can kind of create a sense of empowerment over your body. So the 4 exercises we're going to do today are a push-up. Okay, we're going to do a deep knee bend. We're going to do what I call a one-legged RDL. A lot of people that I work with have different names for this. I call it a one-leg RDL. And the last one is a plank. These are movements you can build into your day. If you're sitting for 30 minutes and get up for 2 minutes, you can do 10 push-ups and go back to work. You're going to get a lot of work in over the course of the day. All right, so let's start with the push-up. First exercise is a push-up. Now this has been my experience with push-ups in the time I've worked with clients. Everybody has heard of a push-up. Everybody's done a push-up. But in my experience, the vast majority of people can't really do a full, complete push-up with strength. They kind of know some version of it that they might have pretended to do to survive PE class at some point, but they don't actually do a push-up. So I'm going to demonstrate that actually a full-on quality push-up. I'm going to give you some options of how you can work down from there. So if you don't have the strength yet, emphasis on yet, to do that full push-up, there's some work downs that we can do that you can start incorporating as you start building the strength and work your way back up. All right, so let me demonstrate a push-up. So one of the things you want to think about when you're doing a push-up is when you're in this position, all right, it's like a plank position, and you want to sort of bow your back. I'm pressing into my hands, I'm pressing into my toes, I squeeze my butt, and I hold my hips. So my entire body is activated. It's all one solid unit. And when you're positioning your hands, for the push-up, you want them to be directly beneath your shoulder, just kind of splitting the middle of your shoulder. So what I often see is people have their hands way out here and they're trying to go down. That is a position of weakness. So right beneath you here, and then you can go all the way down. The only thing I'm gonna move is my elbows. I'm bending my elbows, I'm lowering myself to the mat, and then I'm pushing myself up. That's a full quality push-up. Now, what I often see people do is something like this. They kind of go, they bend their elbows a little bit and they kind of shake their head, or they relax their hips and they go down and then they press up like this and then lift their hips. It's like they do an up dog to plank. So it's important to understand that a push-up is really a complex movement. It really works your whole body. You're gonna feel activation through your legs, through your core. You're kind of squeezing your butt. You feel your entire upper body. You should be generating the movement from your back, your shoulders, your chest, and your triceps. Okay, it's not just chest and triceps. Okay, ideally you want your elbows sort of at an angle here. All right, what I try to imagine is I'm gonna push somebody. Okay, if you were gonna shove somebody, it would come from here, right? You wouldn't bring your arms out here. Okay, you wouldn't squeeze them in, you'd put them here. That's where you're gonna generate the power. So, one more time, full push-up, down and up. Now, you may try that and say, yeah, no, that's not gonna work for me. What you can do, drop to your knees, and again, you notice I have my hips in place, I'm squeezing my butt. What a lot of people do is they hold their hips up like this. Makes it a lot easier. That's cheating, okay? Keep your hips down. Everything else is the same. I'm pushing into my knees. I'm lowering myself. I'm gonna pause a little bit. I'm gonna press up, okay? You're getting all the same benefits from that, but it's a little bit easier if you're having trouble with the full push-up. Now, the third work down is what we call a negative. If you cannot do the push-up off your knees, what you're gonna do is from your knees, the only thing you're gonna do is go down. So, just like this, go down really slow, really slow, really slow. Hold it for a second, then just release and get yourself up. So you're just gonna go down. So what you can do over the course of a day is challenge yourself. I'm gonna do 10 of the best push-ups I can do, and hold yourself accountable. Doing that head bobber I just showed you, okay, it might make you feel better. You might say, oh, I did 20, but you didn't really do anything. You didn't make yourself stronger through that process. So challenge yourself, okay? Find a number that's a challenge for you, okay? Don't let your ego get involved. Don't feel self-conscious about it. Don't judge yourself. Just think, this is me getting stronger, okay? Incorporate them in your day. You might say, I'm gonna do 25 today. You might do 5 at a time, whether they be full, on the knees, or negatives, okay? The more consistent you do that, over time, you'll get much stronger and you'll be able to do more and you'll experience all of those benefits. So that's the first exercise, push-ups. All right, next we're gonna go over a deep knee bend. All right, next exercise, so you can do push-ups. Next exercise is simply a body weight squat or a deep knee bend. You can kind of call it whatever you'd like. Essentially, you can play with where you put your feet, okay? You can do kind of just a little wider than shoulder width, or you can go wider. You may need to turn your toes out, okay? Kind of play with that positioning, find what's comfortable. Some people have some difficulty with the flexion or the bend of their ankle. Some people have some issue with tightness in the hips and they can't go down as far, but just kind of play with it, and the more you do it, the looser you get, the better you'll get. So essentially, one of the most important things is when you're squatting, you want to lower yourself down, pause, and then come back up. So you don't want to drop down. You'll sometimes see people just kind of going like this, really, really fast. All right? You'll tire your legs, you'll feel fatigue in your legs, but you're not really strengthening your legs because essentially it's just gravity. You're just letting your body drop, and then you're transferring all the stress to the knee to kind of stop that, and then you're bouncing back up. So while you may feel fatigued, you're not getting stronger. So what you want to really focus on is, I'll usually go prayer position like this, and I actually kind of press my hands together. It activates the chest and shoulders, and I'm just lowering. I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to come up, okay? You can play with that. One of the things I want you to pay attention to is in the knee, I'm kind of sticking my butt back and sitting down, okay? See how my knee is behind my toes? What we don't want is you up on your toes. We want the pressure as you do your squat in your heel. So that's the focus. Now, if this gets easy, if you're down here, again, you can do 10 of those, feels pretty good. You can do 20 of those. You can add some difficulty. You can come down. You can take a little step. This is called a pulse squat, where you just take a little bit of step, add some difficulty to it. All right, so a deep knee bend. Try to do 25. Try to do 50 over the course of the day. You can chunk it any way that works for you. You can do 5 at a time, 10 at a time. Also, very easy to do throughout the day. Waiting for the microwave, waiting for the coffee, waiting for a call that starts in 5 minutes, do a few exercises. All right, deep knee bends. Here we go. Next is going to be the one-legged RDL. So, one-legged RDL. It looks like this. So, I'm posting on one leg, my knee is slightly bent, and then I'm driving my weight into this left leg, into the heel, and then I'm going to hinge, lifting the back leg. I go to prayer position, and I hold it, and then when I come back up, I simply lift my knee and come back down. So, for a lot of people, this is one of the most difficult moves. It's not so much that it's a strength move, but it really works on the smaller muscles in the foot, the ankle, the knee. It's really good for balance work and stability. And it's something you can really try and practice anywhere. If you're in the kitchen, you can do it next to the kitchen counter, kind of touch the counter as you go. So the key is this, you want to press. So right now I'm pressing into my left leg. My knee is just slightly bent. All right, so I'm not just bending over. I'm not just letting my weight drop forward. I'm pressing my weight into that leg. My core is activated and I'm lowering my body forward. But the work is in this leg. The work is in that foot, ankle, and knee especially to try to stabilize. So if you're here, again, you can touch something. Kitchen counters there. You can kind of have your hand touching on it as you practice, okay? Bending and then coming back up. If that just doesn't work for you, a great place to start is just standing on one foot. Same thing, bend the knee just slightly, 1 or 2 degrees, press into the heel, and then just lift the knee. Interestingly, this is one of the 3 things they use as kind of benchmarks in aging and longevity. The 3 things they like to see people able to do is get up off the floor, hold weights like a farmer carry, have grip strength, and then stand on one foot for 30 seconds or more, most especially your non-dominant foot. So you can play with this. Again, you can do it in the kitchen. You can do it next to a door frame where you just kind of have it here to stabilize yourself. So RDLs, you can sprinkle those in all throughout the day. Like I said earlier, when I taught driver's ed, I would get out of the car, I would be in a parking lot somewhere. I'm sure people thought odd things of me, but I would be next to my car and I would do, 10 of these on each leg and feel invigorated, ready to go back into that car for another 2 hours. So one leg RDL, you might have a different name for them. I've heard half moon. I've had some other names I've heard from yoga. Some may be familiar as a yoga position, but wonderful for building balance and stability through the ankle, foot, and knee. And there we go. Next is going to be the plank. All right, the last exercise is a plank. It's a very common exercise. Most people know and are familiar with this. What's wonderful about the plank is you can do it anywhere, anytime. You have something heating up in the microwave, plank. Waiting for the coffee pot, plank. Waiting for the tea kettle, plank. There's any number of moments and opportunities during the day. Again, if you're sitting down, you're getting up for that 2 minutes, plank for a minute, plank for 30 seconds. It's invigorating. It'll make you feel good, make you feel strong. Okay. Plank is essentially the top position of your push-up. So what you want to make sure you're doing, arms are directly beneath your shoulders. You want to always think of like a table leg. You're stacking the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder. So when you're here, you're in a position of strength. If your arms are in front of you, behind you, or to the side, you're in a position of weakness. So put those arms right beneath your shoulders. Then again, I'm pressing into my toes, engaging my legs. I'm squeezing the butt, holding the hips, and pressing with my palms. It's activating my entire body. Now the goal here is to hold for time. So just use the timer on your phone. Try for 30 seconds. Try for a minute. See how far you go. But do that several times during the day. It'll be great. So that's it. Easy peasy. Eliminate all of that non-necessary sitting. Move more. Get out and walk. Do stuff. And then integrate those 4 exercises into your day. Push-ups, deep knee bends, one-legged RDLs, and planks. Again, don't overwhelm yourself. All right, I would sometimes make a tally, and I'm going to do 50 of these. I'm going to do 100 of these. I'm going to do 20 of these. It would vary day to day. Okay, I did this while I was teaching too. If I had a planning period or a passing period, boom, 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 I could knock some out. So, very simple way to start bringing movement back into your life if you're struggling to keep up with this demand by everybody to exercise. All right, this is Randy Erler. You've been watching the Living Well Blueprint. If you like this video, please subscribe, share it with a friend, and I will see you next time.